Dear Harstem, Terran Widow Mines and Battlecruisers are the biggest form of Imba. I just played a 30-ish minute game of Protoss versus Terran as a chill FOF game tonight. What in the world is FOF? OF meaning... stands for in texting. It stands for frown on face. Related words, middle finger emoji. So he played a middle finger emoji game tonight and got absolutely destroyed by Widow Mines and Battlecruisers. Widow Mines are just way too easy to micro. And the fact that they are also invisible when armory is existing is even more ridiculous. In this game I outmined and outsized my opponent's army at many times. But that does not matter, for his Widow Mines just bang 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 and poof, all of my army is gone. In this game I remaxed at least 3 times, and each time his Imba Widow Mines would just destroy my army over and over again. I just like to note that he mentioned this is a 30-ish minute game, and he says he maxed out at least 3 times. That's not actually that much, is it? 3 times in a 30-minute game. That's not that impressive, but whatever. There's no reason he should win this game when his micro and macro are considerably worse than mine. I know I'm in no position to say that I'm skillful, but at the very least, I think that 140 APM is greater than 40. That is indeed true. 140 is greater than 40. Nice. Showing a good understanding of basic math there. Let's continue. I hope you'd agree with that. Yeah, I do. And after my whole army gets destroyed, he just comes in with his battlecruisers and yay! My whole infrastructure gets destroyed because battlecruisers OP. And also, at the end of the match, when he had his massive battlecruiser swarm in my main base, my stalkers outnumbered him 1 to 5. 1 to 5. He repeated that, so I repeated it as well. And his battlecruisers just melted them the same way that his Widow Mines did. For these reasons, I believe that Widow Mines and battlecruisers are Imba and that they deserve to be nerf hammered to the absolute ground as they are no-skill one-click win cons which trade way too well against any other race. For these reasons alone, I believe that Widow Mines and Battlecruisers are Imba, and there is no doubt about it. Name, AS Frog, Race Protoss, League Silver with 2513 MMR on the North American server. And the question is pretty simple. Are Battlecruisers Imba, or does he suck? Here we go with AS Frog against SJ Tiny Hats DC. Tiny Hats DC. Maybe that's like Marvel DCs, like one of them comics. Maybe he's a comic hero. It's very possible. Not a huge fan of superheroes, but we'll leave that rant to another time. We're playing on Waterfall here, which is a beautiful map, not only because there are birds flying around here, I spotted one earlier, but also because it is not that large of a map with just really, like 6.5 viable bases per site. Well, yeah, 6.5 bases in total per site. Ooh, this is an interesting opener. It's going to be a 60 Nexus, look at that. Well, technically, this is now a 17 Nexus. He just forgot to build the probes. No, it turned into a 17 Nexus. I think this could have been an 18 Nexus. So, skipping gas, I think, is a pretty cool move in PvT. And there are some build orders that work quite well with it. But it only really makes sense if you're skipping gas so that you can get a faster Nexus. If you're skipping gas and then floating 150 minerals while you're building your Nexus, the skipping gas part doesn't make that much sense. And I'm not actually a huge fan of it. This is very similar though to the parting build order, except poorly executed. Like it's a poor execution of a build order, and that makes sense because we're in a silver game. I'm not going to be too nitpicky on all of that crap. You know, my expectations are a bit lower than usual. If I'm seeing this in a Grandmaster game, you know, like floating the 250 mineral before the pylon goes down, an inevitable supply block, this type of stuff, I can kind of see that, you know. I'm sure that SJ Tiny Hats DC is also making similar mistakes here. He built a barracks and forgot to build a unit out of it, for example. No, actually has a marine. Never mind. Oh, he sent it across the map. Well, then I'd rather have he didn't build the unit. If he's just going to send it across the map. You scout with an SCV, not with marines. This is just not very good. 99% of the time, it's not even going to get across the map alive, because an adept will just kill it for free. You should never be capable of running into someone's main base. Now, this first unit is obviously fairly late. Normally, the first unit from a Protoss player finishes at 2 minutes and 22 or 21 seconds. This time, it's going to, well, finish about half a minute later, which is really not ideal, but Once again, we're watching a silver game here, so we just need to lower the bar overall a little bit. Okay, this is an eBay. This is a reactor. This is a base without any defense whatsoever. There are 2 marines somewhere on the map, but I don't quite see them. Oh, they're right next to the command center, standing in the shadow of the CC here. As we have continued worker production, or almost continued worker production. A lot of cash in the bank as well. 2 workers right now considering building a building. Now, all of this isn't very tight, okay? I said we're not going to be too nitpicky when it comes to the build order, but this is a particularly bad build order. Like, it just looks really bad. There's no point in floating. What was this? So he built 2 gateways, or a pylon, then a gateway, and then another gateway, but it doesn't build, so he might as well cancel this one. And then he gets a nexus somewhere, yeah. Yeah, I saw the money disappear. I don't quite understand these moves. Oh, he's also pulling out of gas. Or maybe he never sent them into gas. I think that's the case. I was gonna say that's a very high-level move, pulling out of gas, but I don't think there's any high-level moves in this game, honestly. I think it's going to be low-level moves all the way throughout. I'm wondering why this gate cancel happened. Now he's going to rebuild them. Or is it going to be tech? 2 pylons, right? Don't want to get supply block. That's fair. That's fair. Pylons are somewhat important here. I'm just really confused what's going on here. I also like the way he's building. Just everything. Well, I don't like it, but it looks pretty. They serve no purpose whatsoever. Oh, okay. I understand now what's happening here. Yeah. I don't know what these probes are doing out there. Moving from natural into the main base to saturated gas. That's all good. The gateway over here and the gateway over here weren't aesthetically pleasing. And the most important thing when building a base in war is not that it has functionality or that the buildings get constructed at the correct time. It is that they are aesthetically pleasing from the bird point of view, of course. Very smart AS Frog. Really getting the priority straight here. It's as if you're building a bridge and you're allowed to hire 10 people. And every single person you hire is a color designer. And they spend all day, deciding on the color of the bridge, or the color palette. The color palette. Why do I keep saying palette? Because I have a little bit of French in me, maybe. The color palette of the bridge. And then you get one voluntary engineer that works for 3 hours a week on the bridge as well. I'm sure that is going to be the prettiest bridge ever built. But I wouldn't want to be the first one to drive my car over it, or the second one to drive my car over it. I'm not too sure if it would survive a second car, so let's not even discuss the possibility of a third car. Okay, mines get spotted here. Now this was an interesting move there. He pokes up the ramp with 2 stalkers, loses both of them to mines, and then does nothing again, which technically is the correct move, because I think he saw the fact that there was a couple of extra mines. Because right now, on top of this ramp, we have 13 mines and a tank. That's enough mines to take out every single stalker, and then a bit more. He has some mines over for the change as well. This is actually the first time that I've seen someone build like this. You can see that a lot of thought is being put into where all the buildings are positioned. There was a gate here before that got cancelled, and because it wasn't nice and symmetrical earlier, it wasn't allowed to be built. But now it's like, look! It's actually... He's trying to build different size buildings or different types of buildings on the opposite ends. Then gateway over here. Then gateways here. So the inner ring is all gateways. This is fantastic to watch. This is a design mastermind. AS Frog. If you're looking for any designers, I actually have the email of AS Frog and I can forward it to you. So we can find this guy a job if he's not working yet. To be fair, so far when it comes to the build order, I don't think he's the brains of any operation, but... God, does he know how to make things look pretty. Third base is done already as well. We have 1k minerals in the bank. Not the biggest deal, because there's quite a bit of income. We have decent Look at that. 4 more pylons in the middle. Beautiful stuff. Twilight Council on the bottom side. I can't even recall what I was going to say. The beauty is just... It is something else. It's doing things. Giving me emotions, I'm feeling these things that I didn't know I could feel. It's crazy. Fourth base on the way. I like all of this. Just standing outside. There's no reason to attack upper ramp into 35 mines if you're out expanding your opponent this hard. I'm loving this Robo Bay, honestly. After scouting all the mines, getting a couple of disruptors is obviously going to be the correct call here. It is 100% what you want to be doing. Twilight Council for Blink as well is going to be quite nice. I wouldn't mind seeing an Observer being built. Okay, we already have that. And then that Observer eventually moving across the map. Force Fields could be used here to catch the mines, but you, of course, also could chase the mines forever and hit them once every 5 seconds. It's also allowed. Both options are completely valid. Big Warpin of Stalkers on top of this ramp, and you'll just take out these mines. I actually really like the position currently that AS Frog is in. He's up in workers. He is getting pretty decent infrastructure. He's getting good upgrades. Not a huge fan of the shield weapons here personally, but yeah, it is what it is. Like, I much rather would have had an armor upgrade just because of Ghost. And given that AS Frog hasn't really scouted yet except for the mines, I feel like it might have been worth it to scout with a hallucination as well right now. Just confirming that it is mech. That would have been a very nice thing to confirm. There's a mine run by coming in. It's one of these things you never really see. How did these mines even run past? I guess they went out of the base when AS Frog was chasing the 2 mines all the way back to his own fort. So third base is being set up. Despite there being a contain, this is one hell of a contain. This is like containing someone in their castle and then allowing them to build a farm right in front of you. So they can continue producing food. It's like, that's entirely not the point of a contain. With the contain, kind of, you want to keep your opponent on the amount of bases they're already on while you're expanding to more bases so that your eco lead grows so big that you just outproduce your opponent in a massive way. 6 more gateways, Templar Archives. What is this? He's actually just making patterns. At first I thought he was wanting to protect these pylons in the middle, but he's just doing it for the pure aesthetic. Because this is the least protected structure right now, these pylons. They're on the edge. There's no point in that. It's actually insane. Blink hasn't finished yet. We have no disruptors, which I really, really hate. There's no observer with this army yet, despite there being a couple of observers on the map already. And having observers with the army would obviously be huge, because then you can take out the mines. This base should have never been allowed to get constructed either. Okay, so you see the mines there? Okay, send the entire army over here to deal with this one mine. If he walks into it and doesn't kill it before it shoots, I'll be upset. Okay, I'm not upset. Now, we still remember that there were some mines on the other location as well, right? Hello? The mines over here that we just lost 2 stalkers to? Surely we saw that. What is this repositioning of the observers? Well, oh. Ah, okay, there was one being rallied to it. Okay, I don't mind it. It took a long time. I mean, the mines got the shot again, but it is what it is. The threat gets dealt with. There is a lot of money in the bank currently, which is frustrating me because I feel like this money could be spent rather well on really anything to just kill this base. This base should be getting killed right now. It is very weak still. It has a couple of tanks, but it also has a lot of mines, which should not be useful whatsoever the moment you get a single disruptor. Like a single Purification Nova can probably kill 5-6 mines here in one shot. And you outrange a tank as well, so you just stand over here, boom, shoot at the mines. You do that twice, and then you just move in, and you pretty much win the game by killing the third base. At least in my mind, that is what's supposed to happen here. The one thing I really like that AS Frog is doing here is, well, first of all, obviously the aesthetic of his main base, but also the fact that he continues to expand and has a rather high worker count. I think that is generally a good thing to do. Observer speed I'm a fan of as well. It's just, he's not really using the army. He's 400 APM just there. What was he doing? I want to see that again. Why is he clicking so fast? Okay, right now he has 0 APM. I'm not even sure how that's possible because I'm seeing stuff happen. 160, hello? Show me the APM, you prick. There you go. Current, 83. 16, 0, 268, 436. Yeah, that was very fast. He said he had 140 APM while his opponent had 40. I guess that's at the end of the game then. Because right now he's at 95. May I also say, by the way, that bragging about your speed while you're losing actually shows that you're not that smart. It's a little bit as... Actually, let me just show this one. Let me show this. Imagine imagine you brag about how fast you can play notes on the guitar, okay? And you get in a guitar battle with Jimi Hendrix. And then the moment you're forced to play, you just do this. Take that, Jimmy. I don't think a lot of people are going to be impressed. Just like when you press the buttons really quickly in StarCraft 2 and you're not actually doing anything, not a lot of people are going to be impressed either. It's not so much about smashing your guitar very fast or smashing your keyboard very fast. It's about playing the correct notes or doing things that matter in the game. And so far, you haven't really done anything that matters in this game. You went for a contain without containing your opponent. You walked multiple into mines that you had full vision of. And basically I'm not saying this base is so beautiful. Anyway, and also you're just letting your opponent get away with way too much. Like you have a massive army, you have a huge eco, massive production, 18 gateways.
Triple kill.
You're capable, like this how is this base getting up? How are you not denying this? You've had map control since minute 3.5. Ever since the Marine went across the map and got killed by you, your opponent hasn't been in control of this game at all, whatsoever. You've been in control the entire time and you haven't done anything with it. You have vision of this base, but no vision on this base. You allowed this bad boy to go up, which is a planetary, by the way. Third base is a planetary, that's a big move. Not a fan of it, but it did happen. Like, none of these positions are actually very well defended. There's 36 mines and 4 tanks out. That means that per base, that's an average of 1 tank. And the way that it's currently set up, it means it's 2 tanks per 1 base. And that's it. Mines should never be capable of defending a base by themselves. That's what tanks are for. Like, tanks and mines are a little bit better, but just mines by themselves are completely useless because stalkers literally outrange them. Your tier 1 unit outranges mine. Well, tier 1.5 or whatever it is. Tier 2? What is a stalker, actually? Gateway would be tier 1. And then with a cybernetic score, like tier 1.5. Because robo units are tier 2. Or tier 3 then. And then a Colossus would be tier 4. And actually, no. Feels very confusing to me. So, I am not sure. If you have thoughts on what type of unit a Stalker is, be sure to leave that down in the comments below. And let other people flame each other. And we can have a little infight in our community. On whether it's a 1.5 or tier 2. Or maybe some people have the weird opinion that a Stalker technically is tier 3. Because you also need a pylon in order to build a gateway first. You know, I don't know. You can make loads of arguments for anything. This move, I don't even mind. If it was executed with a bit more suave, more feeling. Because this really isn't quite it. You moved half of your army into your opponent's mines and tanks. And you also managed to stand in range of the tanks that are on the low ground. You do manage to spot all the starports though, while at the same time being destroyed by battlecruisers. And what are upgrades actually? 2-2 upgrades. 2-2 upgrades. Okay, they're relatively even. Now, a good trick that I want to teach you early on in your StarCraft 2 career is the trick of focus firing, and that's attacking one battlecruiser before the other. Rather than spreading the damage out over 10 battlecruisers or over 5 battlecruisers. Yeah, that is correct. No! One at the same time. There we go. And don't switch targets midway through either. That really helps in your journey when trying to take out big fat units like the BC. Now, you're going to be capable of clearing this eventually, hopefully. Yeah, there we go. Because you have so many gateways. Sadly, everything in your opponent's main base also gets cleaned up because I guess he walked in mines and killed all your stalkers. But now you are aware of the fact that battlecruisers are out. Now, by some people's standards, battlecruisers are a tier 9 unit. In my mind, it's like tier 3.5. You might want to tack into something that deals with battlecruisers a little bit better than stalkers. Or, okay, let me rephrase that. Stalkers by themselves are actually kind of okay at dealing with battlecruisers, but the way that you use stalkers against battlecruisers, with poor target fire, with no stutter stepping forward so that all your stalkers can shoot, is not a proper way. I'd much prefer seeing Tempest here in order to deal with BCs. Tempest, long range, easy to control, shoot by themselves. You can have some stalker kind of support there. And then you have a very solid army. You're sticking with pure stalkers for now. 43 stalkers. By themselves, also fine. And I would even encourage a move like this if you would ever do any correct movement with these stalkers. Or honestly, do anything that is correct with these stalkers. This base still is up and going. You haven't even scouted that. And this base has been mining for a while now. We're soon getting some mineral patches mined out. I have a feeling that this base is just going to mine out completely as well. These mines are going to deter you from ever going up here. Like the moment you see one mine, it seems to scare the ever-living crap out of you. As 5 new battlecruisers are being produced. 5 are already out as well. You have +1 infantry weapons on the way. It's an interesting upgrade to get at this point in the game. Surely that's not where the priority right now should be for the Terran player. On a pure mech army, does he even have a barracks? He must have one, because he's building factories. Okay, he has 1 barracks. He's built 3 marines, I think, in this entire game, with none of them being alive. And rather than getting the planetary range or the building armor, he's gonna get +1 infantry. I mean, I'm not one to easily criticize people, but that surely is a mistake. Probably a misclick. We'll put it, you know what, that was a misclick, 100%. His mines are still here as well. Now the battlecruisers are moving out. You spot this with your stalker army. So you could move there to deal with the battlecruisers, or you could hold this position for another 25 seconds. Moving in is the correct call. Blink under it, target, blink, blink, puff. Shoot, shoot, shoot one more. Can we do it? Ooh, what are these Archons doing? What do you use? Is there Yamato? There's no Yamato cannon. Yamato against Archons is pretty powerful. Do like this blink. Oh my god! The cannons to really finish this base. This is the sickest base I've seen in my life. I don't even think I could make this. You know? Like, I've played StarCraft for a long time, but I can't build this. Like, this is... I don't have this eye for aesthetic that you have, AS Frog. I do have an eye for taking out fort bases, though, which is something that you've still not done. Oh! This is when aesthetic gets in the way of functionality. When you completely filled your base with buildings that you can't enter your own base anymore to deal with 7 battlecruisers that are there. And I think this is the point where he said that battlecruisers teleport into my base and take out every single piece of infrastructure. Yeah, it's fairly unfortunate when that happens. Oh, there's actually still 1 path. Look at that. They're coming in 1 by 1 right now. I think you might actually end up killing all of those BCs actually. Yeah, this wasn't even that bad. This was fairly okay, honestly, for you, at the end of the day. If your opponent didn't have a fort base, I think you'd be ahead. Maybe you're still ahead? It's so difficult to say whether you're ahead or not, because in my mind, you've been ahead this entire game, but you just haven't used it. So are you really ahead in that case? It's like, imagine you're doing a 5 kilometer foot race, you know? And someone starts at the midway point and then starts running in the wrong direction. Is he really ahead at that point? Like, yes, he's ahead in the distance, but you know that being ahead doesn't mean anything. Like, it's completely irrelevant to the actual race. Beautiful. Fireworks. God, I wish there was an observer close by that could spot these. Sadly, that's not the case. So, I guess we'll just have to live with these mines shooting us at every opportunity that they get. Position our entire army on top of it as well. And then get 7 more mines to burrow on top of us. Oh, how unfortunate. If only we had some vision close by. Oh no, not the second wave. Who could have thought that mines get to recharge? Oh, that is ridiculous. God. Can't believe we just lost 45 supply like that. He's going to gather his forces again and max out so he can walk over the same mines once more. He hasn't lost enough units yet to these mines. There are mines with legit 4 kills, 3 of those being Archons. It's like mines that killed more than like 1,400 resources lost. It's like the most effective mines in the history of mines. These mines haven't seen any action yet. I have 2 battlecruisers securing this base. If this base gets to go up, I'm going to be extremely upset. Honestly, if any base gets to go up, I'm going to be extremely upset because there's nothing to secure bases. There's like 4 tanks in the natural defending the turrets and the command center. And like everything outranges this. It is just not possible that this is defending this position. It should not be possible in my mind. And yet it's happening. And it's extremely frustrating to watch this. Because the macro... he said micro and macro. The macro hasn't been that bad. The macro actually has been quite good out of AS-Rock. The micro has been non-existent. He mentioned out-microing his opponent. I haven't seen that yet. Because in order to out-micro your opponent, you need to show micro. And there was no micro yet. There have been move commands. Oh, here we go again. But this time with observers. Now, does he realize that Archons don't outrange mines? That is a very difficult question. Maybe he blinks on top of him. That would also be hilarious in a really sad way. Oh, takes out some of these mines. Burrow. Here we go. Please don't kill all. Oh. He killed every single observer except for this one. You know what really would make life easier for lower level Protoss players? If we would introduce something on the observer called observer mode, where it would turn into a static unit that provides more detection vision and more vision overall. That would be so helpful. So then when you A move or F2 A move your entire army into a mine position, your observers don't fly in and get splashed by the mines. I wish that was a thing, but sadly for AS-Frog, that is not the case yet. He's now taking his 7th base, but I don't think money is really the issue. You know, some people can be as rich as they want. They're still not going to be capable of doing anything useful with it. You know, AS-Frog is the type of guy that has like a 5 million inheritance and buys 5 million worth of scratch tickets. And he keeps doing that again and again until all of his money is gone. And then starts complaining that scratch tickets are overpowered because he can't win anything with it. Like, this can't actually be serious, right? Like, he knows these mines are here. How does he keep... This mine has 6 kills. Like, all of these mines have like 4, 5, 6 kills. This is just stalkers. He's warping stalkers on top of mines. If they shoot again, I'm gonna be so upset. Okay, now he's walking away. That's good. Okay, he spots units on the other side with this probe scout, I guess. 5 probe scout, a classic. I also did it at the start of my game. This is so unbelievable. 15 more stalkers to throw away. Like, this is just one planetary. Just go into... He's probably afraid of mines being there or something. He's like, I'm not blinking into this. Poof. Shoots it. 2 shots it and out. Beautiful. Next. Okay, you follow the SCVs. Follow your nose. Come on, mate. Yes, there we go. SCVs being taken out. Hop, hop, hop. There's mines here. Put it in observer mode. A move into this position. Battlecruisers going in. It's not enough BCs. Honestly, it's not enough BCs. You can fight this. They teleported in as well. They're not safe. These are gonna die for free. Beautiful stuff. You don't even have to look at this anymore. Just let these units attack by themselves. Probably goes better than when you look at it. Mine's still over here. 5 kills on this one. 7 kills! All Stalkers and Archons. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Pam pam padam pam padam pam padam pam pam padam pam padam pam padam pam. Let's take a look. Oh, he saw that explode. That's actually pretty sick. This is the run by of the century, that's for sure. Look at this. It's legit a pure mine army. That's something I've never seen before. How many is this? 43 mines total. I think this is almost all of them. There's a couple left over here, couple left over here as well. Can't believe that this base is still up, by the way. It has been spotted at this point. You can attack this, you can attack this, you can do it! You can do it. It is just mines, my friend. They're static. Set it up in observer mode. Oh, also, yes. Let's hope he doesn't scan. Victory for the good guys. I can't believe it. He knew how to do it all along. Maybe he googled a tutorial midway through. Nah, the APM went up. He's been clicking faster than ever before. He lost 3 or 4. How many? There's like 2 Stalkers in this entire engagement. Killed 40 mines or 30 mines. Beautiful. Now that we've done this once, surely we're going to be capable of replicating this success. It seems unlikely to me that after such a sick engagement, you'd go back to your old ways of running Stalkers into mines, right? That would seem ridiculous. And there is no way that he would ever do that again. I can't believe it. I just won't believe it. It's not going to happen. From this point on out, AS Frog is going to clear up every mine position with ease now that he has figured it out. After he's done moving around back and forth in this area, he's celebrating the victory. I don't even mind that. If you have such a good fight for the first time in the game, you're allowed to kind of bathe in that victory, Just sit there and just let it fall all over you, that victory. The sweet, sweet victory. Beautiful stuff. Next one. We can do it. Cheeky blink into the mine position. Yeah. That happens. But we're not moving away. We realize that after the mines have shot, that they need time to recharge. This is honestly still a better fight than 90% of all other fights in this game, and thus an overall win for us, because we're probably still outmining our opponent as well. This base was almost empty. It literally mined out in gas, which is impressive. Now, at the same time, SJ Tiny Hats DC is also saving up about, what is this going to be, like 16 battle cruisers or something, which is impressive. Like a battle cruiser transition is one of the most difficult things to do in Terran versus Protoss, because if you build them 1 by 1, it takes very long to get to a good number. If you build them 3 by 3, it takes a little less long to get to a good number, but there's a very large period, or still a very significant period, in which you don't have enough PCs that they really mean anything, and there's a lot of supply just missing, which is basically in battle cruisers. So that point is right now, or well, that point has been for the past 3.5 minutes, where these BCs have been building and kind of just collecting in the bottom left side of the map. And BCs in large numbers are actually really scary, especially if you only have Stalkers, because Stalkers are a tier 1.5 unit and battle cruisers are tier 17. So you always got to be very careful there. If the BCs get across the map and you're not in position, it sucks. Now, a quick tip that I do have against BCs is to get a Guardian Shield. A single sentry does so much against battle cruisers, because Guardian Shield provides 2 armor for everything within the Guardian Shield, which can be honestly basically every single unit on the entire map, because Guardian Shield has a massive freaking radius. Now, against battle cruisers that attack at a very high pace, that +2 armor is actually huge. Like, it just helps so much. It's just like having +2 armor against Marines. It helps an absolute crap ton, except against these Marines, because they already have +1 infantry weapons. Let's not forget the crit. He's building a new Marine. He's the 4th Marine in the game, this bad boy. The first one, though, with +1 infantry weapons, so surely he's going to make a difference. Bob the Marine. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. No combat shield, no stim, but +1 infantry. Ba-na-na-na-na. Gonna stand over the mines. Da-na-na-na-na. I'm not sure what he's gonna do, actually. He's gonna clear this pylon with 2 tanks. Very cool. I mean, surely these mines are enough to stop our good friend AS Frog from ever doing anything whatsoever. Now, the problem with allowing your opponent this type of battle cruiser transition is that once they get there... Oh, hold that thought. Oh, but we learned. See? Sure, the start here was rough, and we might have lost a lot of Stalkers for free, but now we're going to clear up this position. And nothing is going to stop us, except maybe the 17 battlecruisers in the main base. Yeah, that actually might be a minor issue. I say a minor issue, I mean, now truly all the infrastructure is being taken out in a big way. So we have 17 battlecruisers against 41 Stalkers. The end of the match, when he had his massive battlecruiser swarm in my main base, my Stalkers outnumbered him 1-5. And he reiterated 1-5 in all caps. Now, I dropped out of all of my math courses in university after 3.5 weeks. But 41 divided by 17, I don't think that gets to 5, or even close to 5. Does it? Probably a little bit close to 2.5 or 3-ish. 2.5, 2.6, something like that. So that was a lie. You're not allowed to lie to me. It's people that lie to me, bad things happen to them. Those are facts. Can you remember anyone that ever lied to me? No, because I made them disappear. See? It's pretty crazy if you think about it. Also, you're not really fighting with your entire Stalker army against these BCs, are you? It's like half your Stalker army, the rest is running away. At this point, it's 35 to 15. Honestly, you're not even performing that bad. Like, you're actually... No, 13 against 25. Like, this goes way better than you probably would think it is. The funny thing is, people always believe that if they have a lot of units of something, that then should beat less units of something, even if the supply of the actual army is way higher for the less units. That makes no sense. Imagine you would have 4 Colossi against, like, 20 Marines. You wouldn't expect the Marines to be capable of building the Colossi just because there's 20 Marines. No, the Colossus A is a hard counter to the Marine, and B, even if the Marines like outnumber them, that doesn't have to say anything about the supply that is there. Like currently there's freaking 12 massive, like what is it, 6 supply units against 31 2 supply units. Like supply wise, this is better, isn't it? I think so. I'm so bad at math, honestly. I'm so ridiculous. I can't even... Yeah, it's better. More supply in the battlefield. This is a terrible blink. I don't think it is going to matter whatsoever. This also was not a great blink. Straight into the BCs. Honestly, the moment you allow your opponent to ever transition into BCs like this, I'm not saying you deserve to lose, but you really do kind of deserve to lose. It's a bit as if you have a 1-versus-1 fight with someone and the guy starts like mining iron ore in front of you, like makes his own forge and starts just like blacksmithing like a massive sword, a really sharp sword, and then stabs you with it. And then you start complaining about how sharp the sword actually is. It's like, well, maybe it has less to do with the fact that it's such a sharp tool, and more to do with the fact that you allowed him to do all of that to get there while you were in such a good position. Like you could have just punched him at any point during the process, whether it's like doing the mining or whatever, and you probably would have won, the fist fight. I don't think the sword has much to do with it. I honestly don't even quite understand how you would complain about this game. You legitimately lost, like, how many stalkers did you? You lost 268 stalkers. And your opponent lost 104 mines, despite you outranging mines and having 14 observers as well. Like, you just kept walking into the same position again and again. I don't think I've ever seen mines be this efficient without doing anything. They just sat there. They weren't actively being managed. They sat there and you walked into them. You're like the guy... At one time I went for a game of laser tag, or laser quest, I think it might be called in some areas of the world, like England. And there was like a Santa, like a static Santa at some point, and whenever you would walk past him with like your thing, he would shoot you and you would lose 100 points. And there was one kid in my party on my team that kept walking by Santa, and Santa would continuously shoot him, and my team would lose 100 points again and again and again and again. You're that kid that was in my team, AS Rogue. You're the guy that walks into the Santa while Santa shoots you with his laser tag gun. And it pissed me off to no end back then, and it pisses me off to no end back now as well. Or, well, back now, right now. You, my friend, just freaking suck, and it's time to accept it. Stop walking into Widow Mines. Widow Mines and battle cruisers are tricky to deal with, but they weren't even being used this game. My man literally just left the mines wherever he burrowed them and didn't even stack up battle cruisers properly. So, no reason to complain about this whatsoever. You massively sucked. And that is going to be it. That's the truth. Truth of the matter. Life is life. That also is going to be it for me today. Thanks everyone so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy this episode of Is It Imba? Or Do I Suck? Where we had another sucker. Perhaps next week is going to be different. Maybe you're the one that is different from all the other suckers. Be sure to send in your replay in the Google form that is below in the description. And I'll see all of you next time. Don't forget to hit the bell. That would be swell. and hit the thumbs up as well. Bye bye.